The T110E4 is an American Tier 10 tech tree tank destroyer. It might surprise you to find this out, but it's actually the best performing tech tree tank destroyer in Tier 10. Now the reason behind that is fairly simple. It has a turret. Time and time again, it is proven that vehicles that don't have turrets have a harder time at shooting opponents that, flank them, that get behind them. It's a pretty big disadvantage. So being able to actually traverse your turret 90 degrees to the right and to the left gives the E4 a massive advantage over its fellow tank destroyer counterparts. It also carries pretty decent armor. Not the best, but its hull is about the same as a T110E5, and the turret cheeks are pretty strong as well. The real problem with the E4 that I keep asking Wargaming time and time again just to remove is the hatch on this vehicle. If that hatch was just taken away from the tank, it would become one of the best tier 10s out there. But instead, they opted to give it more accuracy in update 9.1. And when I say more accuracy, I mean like ludicrous amounts of better accuracy. It has now 0.308. This is the same accuracy as the previous STB1, a tier 10 medium. So you can very easily snipe enemies that are sitting across the map, which is great because now you can actually snipe really well. Plus, if you need the front line, you still got that frontal armor, and the vehicle also got a DPM buff, now sitting at 2,866. And by the way, that's with me running Kelly. If you're running Gunrammer, you've got 3,081 DPM. That's a pretty impressive number. So let's take a look at how the E4 can do in some gameplay. To me, I actually find this tank just getting a flat buff. Now, there was a slight nerf to the vehicle. It lost quite a bit of turret traverse. I don't remember how much it was, but I can tell you now that the turret traverse is about the same as a Type 71. But I honestly think that falls in line with the rest of vehicles that you have to grind, like the Hellcat and the T25-2 and the T28 prototype have pretty slow turning turrets. I think the T30 might be a bit faster, but it's still not very fast. So I think that it makes sense that this vehicle also doesn't have a very fast turning turret, but that's better because now your on-movement dispersion is better. You shouldn't really need to rely on your turret traverse that much. It's just kind of nice to have a turret in general, and as you can see, it still turns, so if there's something trying to flank you, you should still be able to deal with it, as the vehicle also did get a slight traverse buff, I think of like 3 degrees, so while it did lose a bit of turret traverse, it actually got buffed on its traverse speed, which will make it better at dealing with opponents flanking it in the first place. So let's make our way over towards the C cap. We have really nobody going over towards A and B, which is good. You want your whole team to stick together, especially when we see their 113 crossing towards C. Definitely the right decision for our team to stick together. Their team has a Yo, they have a 113 and a T110E5. Now the most important thing I'm going to do is I'm going to aim it on this 183 and get a nice snap right into his vehicle for 584. And wow, 183 player moment, just snapping that shell without even giving it a chance to aim. Well, you know what, that's fine, because that 183 is now down over 1,000 hit points, definitely hurting his vehicle quite a bit. I'm hoping this Mark 6 kind of gets off of me, but instead he's just continuously turning. Why? I don't know. Could you please not? Thank you. Alright, I'm gonna push over into their team. We've got really good pen. That's the great thing about the E4, is that you carry the alpha of a tank destroyer and the penetration of a tank destroyer while having actually armor of somewhat like a heavy tank. So there you go, nice shot into that 113 for 690. We're gonna start reloading again. We got 5 more seconds left. I would love to get an HE into that Yo, but I don't know if we're gonna be able to. Come on. Oh, that's a 965 tap right there. And that's where the alpha and penetration of a tank destroyer just feels amazing. Now, I don't think we're going to do anything crazy in this game. I mean, their team's already dead, and they have an E5 flanking behind, and apart from that, a T110E4 that is undetected. So I'm going to try my best to get a shell into this T110E5. Hopefully he's going to turn for that STB, and if he does, we can get a shell into his vehicle, but it also seems like he might not. Oh, come on, and fire. Nice! Look at that, a nice 800 max roll, and with that, plus us getting shot by the T110E4, gives me the idea of where he is, so we actually are going to do pretty decent damage, I would say. We're already up to 2,800 with that max roll, and if we're able to just connect a shell into this T110E4, we'll be sitting upwards of, what, 3,400? Not bad at all. So let's make our way into the front line, see if we can get a shell into his vehicle. There's the E4, not running hit points for some reason. Maybe he's just new to the game and he hasn't fully equipped the tank yet, but anybody playing the E4, I'd highly suggest to run hit points, as the armor doesn't go incredibly far on this vehicle. It's more of just like a, ha, you bounced me armor moment. You can see even the turret cheeks on this tank are apparently very strong and not able to be penetrated. I don't know what to say about that there. That was a pretty easy pen, and Wargaming just said no you to me. So let's see if we can get to the side of his tank. Here we go. Get a nice pen. And we only did 151 because something, I guess everybody shot him at that moment. Unfortunate. I guess we are just slightly going to get around 3,000 damage. It's so sad that that first shell didn't pen him, but I'll take it. We were still able to deal 3,093 and showcase where having a turret plus mobility feels pretty nice. Now, obviously, we could have done what we did there in a lot of Frontline TDs, or maybe even a 60 TP with its great gun depression, big alpha. But it's really nice to run a tank destroyer that has the abilities to play like a heavy, but it has accuracy, pen, and the fact that it's also got DPM. It's just really nice. Honestly, I've always liked the 60 TP, but I've really always liked the E4 a lot more. It's like a 60 TP, but you can kind of camp with it and have fun with your alpha. So this game, we've got a Type 71, a 57 heavy, and an FE 2 and 5B. Hopefully, they don't go town, but it's every time teams just want to go town on Middleburg. It's incredible. I like Supremacy for being able to win games that you shouldn't be able to sometimes, but I hate Supremacy because players don't understand what the most important part of this map is. A lot of people will try to argue every now and then in my comments that, well, there's bases in town, and you should go there. Well, if that was the case, then you should be telling professional comp teams to also go town and not go up, because most professional comp teams will actually go up the hill, not down. So we got a Yag, and let's get a nice shell. Beautiful. That's where that .308 dispersion feels amazing. By the way, didn't even get detected. We got an E6 pushing fairly aggressive, and well, I can tell you for a fact this E6 is not going to enjoy life in just a moment here. Oh, no, you don't track me. We are getting that HE in and finishing you off for 850. That feels pretty dang impressive. Unfortunately, we bled a lot of health to deal that, but honestly, I could care less. That was 100% worth it. Let's aim in on this T110E4. There you go. Bit of a low roll, but that's what happens when people are running reactive armor. We have 941 health left, and this is where your hit points don't go incredibly far, and you got to be very careful. But hey, if our Yag pokes us, which he's most likely going to do, judging that he has a shell, well, maybe not. I'm gonna go somewhere else. I have a feeling that 60 TP is going to be sitting there for a long time. Yep, he is. So I'm not going to bother dealing with the 60 TP. Instead, I'm going to come off to the side over here and maybe get a shell into the E5 or the 60 off to this position. I think it would be a bit smarter to do that. So here we go. Let's see where the C5 is. I'm going to wait for my gun to aim in just a bit. And hello? Oh, well, I guess, you know, we can get a shell into you. There you go. Nice 800 max roll once again. And that shows just the alpha on the E4 not caring about the enemy team. So hopefully this 57 is going to finish off the enemy, but looks like he's struggling a bit there. Let's get a nice shot into the rear of that 60 for 633. And with that, we're already up to 3,400 damage dealt. And again, just the tank being its amazing self. So this guy's got 625 health, which means, there you go, we're able to get an average roll, finishing him off. All that's left is a 113 up top, and we should be able to win this battle. Well, not should. We are going to win this battle. If we lose this game, I will quit Blitz. Like, I will fully quit this game, delete it, uninstall it, because there is no way. Imagine this 113 Amarex every single player one at a time. That would be the most insane thing I will ever have seen in Blitz. But again, you can see, even though our hit points didn't go incredibly far this game, because I was able to use the gun and the alpha that it carries with the ridiculous pen, we still just easily outtraded our opponents. And this is what I always love about the T110E4, is just the ability to not care. So let's fire an HE. I'm really surprised we actually got that kill, judging that we had 4 tanks there, but I'll take it. That's an extra 150 hit points to add to our tally. And with that, we probably did pretty decent this game. We did 4,172 damage. Pretty sweet. So yeah, I really like the E4. Honestly, it's a really fun tank to play. You might think it looks kind of boring, but it's definitely a lot more enjoyable than your average tier 10. The only problem with the E4 is the line. T30 is great. Honestly, it really is. It's just the T28 prototype. You're really going to hate this thing. I don't know why when I click on the vehicle it shows me ranks, but yeah, the T28 prototype's really slow. It's got a tier 6 engine, and because of that, it takes forever to get into the battle. I actually like the tank. Its gun's really nice, but the vehicle itself is not good for beginners, and it's definitely not a line in general I would suggest people to go down. So maybe, sorry, I had a bit of a burp that like died in my throat as I was trying to speak there, but the E4 is a fantastic tank. I would suggest to grind it, but not if you're newer to the game. It's definitely a tank that requires a bit of skill. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and if you'd like to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.